What's up? Welcome
What's
back
up?
to the final one. This is it. There's no more
Nah.
for now. True. You guys want to introduce yourselves one final time?
Oh, I'm Andy.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm me. Okay, so I was thinking that there's no need to even do any sort of recap for this one. The episode is straightforward enough that I feel like we can just jump into thoughts on how everything went down. Starting with, of course, our boy Jonathan Majors, who I will refer to from this point on as Immortus, because I do believe that that was the Immortus version of Kang. So Andy was right. I think Andy said last week that he was expecting the Immortus version, and I would agree
Yes.
that that's what we got.
Yep.
And he was fucking awesome. I mean, he acted the hell out of that part behind that desk, and then immediately jumping over that desk. He was fucking awesome. I loved every
He was
second.
almost Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
He was like Willy Wonka was what I kept thinking of.
Yeah. Just like the isolation and the knowledge kind of driving him slowly crazy.
Yep.
I mean, Mad Hatter and Willy Wonka are the same actor, so.
True.
Really?
in
Well, all right. in the
certain
fake
versions
Wonka.
of the and like Willy Wonka, he was looking for someone to take over his chocolate factory. So
Yep.
it just lines
Yeah.
up. What'd you guys think
all right.
of him?
I loved him. And when I saw him, the second he showed up, and I knew, it made me so happy that it wasn't some bullshit Loki ending.
Yeah. I was so happy when that elevator opened. It was such a fun reveal too. Like it was such a tiny thing, but just like
Well-
him just popping up in an elevator was so fun.
I will say when Miss Minutes popped up, I thought for a moment, is everything being run by Miss Minutes?
I thought it was going to be a little AI moment.
Like, she's secretly behind the scenes is doing everything, but comes off as this, like, clippy kind of character.
That was a theory. People thought going into this episode that she was potentially behind everything, which never made any sense to me, but that frame when she pops up and it's just like hello is one of the scariest things I've ever seen
Oh my God,
in
yeah, it's
any
like-
piece of media ever.
Murder doll scenario right there.
I saw a great meme of that like little shot, but she's holding a gun in her hand.
Oh, God.
It's fucking awesome.
Jordan, thoughts?
Yeah.
I liked it. Although, he never said his actual name.
It's true. He did not say what his name was, but
He gave his titles.
he gave us more than a few clues.
Yeah.
He said, I was born on Earth in the 31st century. I was a scientist. I'm a time traveler. I've been called a conqueror. And
I got a
and
question.
also the fact that Jonathan Majors, that actor, is playing Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man 3 also kind of helps.
Yeah.
But yes, they did never say. They never called him Kang. They never called him Immortus. They never called him Nathaniel Richards. Never any of that.
I want to know. I saw some theory that was saying that Iron Lad is Kang in the comic books.
That is correct. Yep. Iron Lad is what the young version of Nathaniel Richards goes by.
Mm.
And that he eventually becomes Kang.
Okay.
And he's a part of the Young Avengers. So
Who we
could
will meet
potentially see him.
in Young Avengers when that comes out.
Assuming they include Iron Lad. Technically, they might skip him. We don't know. He's
That'd be
like
bullshit.
the only member that hasn't been cast and showed up in something. So, I don't know. I have strong opinions on Iron Lad that we don't need to get into here. We can do that at another time. But yeah, I mean, he chewed that shit up. Like, he was terrifying and hilarious and menacing all at once, which is exactly what he needed to be.
He's
Yeah.
very like creepy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just I guess
Ominous.
the only way to like kind of describe it was just creepy.
Yep.
Omnipotently.
Yeah. Omnipotent.
What?
I would agree he's omnipotent.
Yeah, but I was gonna say omnipotently ominous. It seemed like
Sure. Yeah.
just weird. Now, the backdrop of the end of time.
Yep.
Oh,
It looked great.
wow.
And I was so close to, I was calling it the castle at the end of time for a week, and it was called the Citadel at the end of time. I was so close.
Oh. Wrong. E-lettered structure, Dylan.
It's true. But yeah, the shot at the, when they go through the window at the end, and you just see the multiverse opening up, was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And even briefly touching on earlier, the intro to the episode was super cool as well. Like, just all the random Marvel quotes from the movies over the Marvel Studios logo. It was so disorienting and confusing. Like, I hit play and I was like, is this in the episode? What is happening? I don't understand.
Well, I for a second thought, did I hit the right episode?
Yeah.
I hit the right thing?
Then they show you, like, the fucking Big Bang and everything ever, and I was like, all right, this is great. I love everything about this.
Very cool episode with a lot of good, I don't know, explanation dialogue.
Yeah, good exposition. Exposition that was fun to listen to. Like, it never felt like, oh, they're just reading me a wall of text. It was always entertaining. And I think it was, like, the smartest way you could possibly introduce Kang as a concept to the multiverse. Because he makes it very clear, like, I am the nicest version of me. There is no nicer version. I am a, like, fascist time dictator, and I am the best outcome. What I can't remember the exact. I think the line is, if you think I'm bad, or if you think I'm evil, just wait until you meet my variants. And I was like, oh, what a perfect introduction to the character. Because now when he shows up again, you're fucked.
If you're trusting that he's saying that he is actually the nicest.
But he probably is. He was pretty honest about everything else. From what we know.
But doesn't mean he's nice or benevolent.
It's true. Oh, but he isn't saying he was nice or benevolent. He's saying I'm the best it gets.
Yeah, well, he's saying
all the other versions are worse than me.
I'm the easiest to deal with.
Yeah. Which is cool, because now when he shows up in Loki Season 2 and in Ant-Man 3 and in wherever else he pops up in future, already, like, in the back of your mind, I already met the nice version. And he was terrifying. How much more terrifying are all the super evil versions?
Oh, yeah. And what level of evil version is now running the TVA?
Yes. So I guess,
Sylvie made me real salty, and I'm just not happy with it.
Why? Because of the decision she made?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
It is the most colossal fuck up in the MCU. It is worse than what Star-Lord did, because if you think about it, Star-Lord really didn't have a choice. Everything had to go that way it did in Infinity War and Endgame to go the 1 in 14 million that Doctor Strange saw. It all had to happen. Sylvie had a legitimate choice, and she fucked it.
And it's just so disappointing.
Yeah.
Because we see our Loki go through all this change and development, and here she is, mocking him about his throne, where she just can't drop her revenge for 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But it also obviously needed to happen. It was always going to go that way because we needed the multiverse to open up. But from an in-universe perspective, a terrible decision. A nightmare decision.
But, there's a reason Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man, Into the Multiverse?
No Way Home.
Oh. What had multiversal...
Yep. And What If, which comes out next month, is a multiversal What If alternate timeline show. Like, all of that needed this to happen for those to happen.
Yeah.
So obviously it was always going to go that way. But it was cool. I mean, I liked it, and it was believable, you know? It's like, everyone got mad at Star-Lord in Infinity War because he made a dumb decision, and it was a little bit unbelievable that you wouldn't be able to contain yourself from punching a unconscious man for 14 seconds while you take the strongest thing ever off of him. Whereas Sylvie's was like, she was running out of time, she was on a timer, she was mad as fuck, and she did not believe him. She should have believed him, but she did not believe him. So while it is like a colossal fuck up, it played really well because it was very believable that she would do that.
Pushed a dagger into all of our hearts and souls, but as well as Loki's, because she freaking kissed him, and you're like, oh my god, it's happening, and then she pushes him through the fucking door.
It was brutal. And I loved it. That was exactly what a Loki would do.
And now he's an analyst.
Well, no, he's not. They just thought he was an analyst because they didn't know who he was. So we can touch on that now. The reveal at the end, the fucking Planet of the Apes moment, where he ends up in a TVA. What'd you say?
It was very Planet of the Apes.
Yes. He ends up in a TVA he does not recognize, and he looks out at the statue of the timekeepers, and there are no timekeepers. There is only Kang.
Only Kang.
Comic book accurate Kang costume, I might add.
Yes. That's what I said. It's a totally different Kang. And, you know, clearly everybody's memories have been reset.
Yep. Yeah, so it's interesting dissecting exactly how that works. I think the best solution I've seen, and I don't know if it's true, we probably won't know exactly how the mechanics work until season 2, but that there was one TVA and one sacred timeline, and when the multiverse shattered, now every timeline has its own splintered version of the TVA. So potentially he's just in a different timeline with a different TVA that he was never at.
Yeah.
Or you can take it as there's still one TVA and it was just completely reset somehow, you know, the new Kang wiped everyone's memories and reset everything back. You could also totally go that route.
The story could have been rewritten.
Well, yes and no. You could... Time travel rules of the MCU say you cannot rewrite the past. But we know that the old Immortus Kang had already wiped these variants' memories so they didn't remember their variants. So when new Kang takes over, he could have just re-wiped everyone's memories, and that's why they forgot Loki. You could easily go that route. But it's interesting now what you think the TVA's job is, because they can't prune timelines anymore. You know, at least not at a rate to keep up with what they were doing in the past. It's just beyond that point. And you see... Go on.
I feel like they just manage and kind of catalog the timelines.
Yeah.
They're not a pruning organization anymore, because they're talking about, the 63 new ones is this what he actually wants? I feel like they're just managing and cataloging timelines.
Yeah, the other thing is they could now be more of a police force. They could be just, like, intervening at moments to prevent timelines from going to war with each other. Because did you spot our boy Casey in this episode? He is there.
I did not.
He is at the very end when Loki ends up in the alternate TVA. There's a moment, it's not that the first moment he runs down that hallway and he runs past some hunters, he's not there. He runs into the big open like lobby room and looks around for a few seconds, and a group of hunters runs by in the background, and Casey is one of the hunters, and he yells out a line as he goes past.
I did not.
No.
So Casey is a hunter now. So potentially that means they've like greatly expanded their hunter force to be more militaristic which would be interesting.
I also want to know where the hell that sus bitch judge went.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So Miss Minutes comes to her with a file that she didn't ask for, and Ravonna's like, "What the fuck is this?" And she's like, "He thinks this will help you more." And then she has the line, only. Well, hold on. Before that, only one person gets free will, the person in charge. And then when she leaves, she said she's going to find free will. So I think the best guess you can put forward at this point is that she was sent to find some variant of Kang at some point in time. And so likely season 2 is going to pick up with those two meeting each other and potentially falling in love and all that happening, which is cool. And then, those two are potentially going to be either, or also she could just be with this new Kang that's already in charge of the TVA because time is weird. So she could have gone back and then ended up forward again. But yeah, I think she probably went to meet up with some version of Kang.
Kang as a character itself is an interesting concept. A man that can go through time without causing any kind of rifts.
Yes, he's a fucking... His story in the comics is a nightmare because it just constantly contradicts itself and it's awful. And I'm glad that they've clarified it a little in the MCU so far. Much more understandable. Let's see. What other big moments did we have? I guess that's really it for what happened in the episode. So I guess my next question... Go on.
There's a lot of exposition.
Yeah. So I guess my next question would be, what do you guys... at the end, there was no post-credit scene, first of all, which was very sad. Yeah, there was a little stinger, but there was no, scene, and I was devastated. But yes, in the little stinger at the end, the card, we get the confirmation that Season 2 is coming, which was cool. I was happy they officially confirmed that. So what do you guys expect to see or want to see out of Loki Season 2?
I want to see Mobius on a goddamn jet ski.
Yeah, they lost an opportunity to have him on a jet ski.
Well, you can't do everything in Season 1. You got to save something.
Besides that, I guess a Loki Sylvie reunion.
So we can get back at that bitch?
I don't think he's going to get back at her. I think he's going to continue to try and help her grow.
Rehabilitate.
Yeah, as a person. They're probably going to team up again. I would like to see some more variant Lokis.
Yep.
A little bit more development with some of those Lokis.
Kid Loki will almost certainly be back, I think.
Yeah. I would like a little bit more of him. Besides that, I
don't know what to want.
I just don't know what to want.
No, the possibilities are basically endless. So it's a hard question to answer.
At this point in time, with no trailer for Season 2, no real information about what Season 2 might possibly hold.
Well, I feel like we'll know more of what we're hoping to see once, Multiverse of Madness comes out and, the Spider-Man movie comes out and What If, where we get more building off of this. Then I think we'll be able to kind of expect what we want to happen in Season 2.
Yep, for sure. I agree.
I think trying to guess at what it's going to be about, you could be guessing at anything at this point.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're going to see some kind of, like you said, policing of timelines where we're trying to prevent all-out war.
Yep.
But I do think that's the new purpose of the TVA is to, like I said, manage, catalog, and keep in check timelines, not let them get too aggressive. And if they do, then you snuff them out.
Yeah, it's especially hard to say because we don't know when season 2 is coming, you know? We know that or at least I know that right now it's penciled into film at like the end of this year, beginning of next year, December or January,
Oh God.
which means it's probably a like early 2023 show, but we still know so little about what's coming out even between now and then. Like not everything is announced that's coming out, and when and what order we don't really know, so it's hard to know exactly where that's going to fall in place. I know that I'm hoping to see more Throg. I want Throg. I want the Squadron Supreme, which is basically the Marvel knockoff version of the Justice League from an alternate universe. There was a rumor that they were going to show up in season 1 that came out forever ago, so I'm hoping that that rumor came because they were discussing them for season 2. I want them. And yeah, more Kang. I just want more fighting Kang, which I think we'll definitely get based on the ending of this.
Jesus.
The interesting thing is I know bits and pieces of things, and sometimes they're hard to piece together. But I know that there is specifically a reason that despite the fact that Ant-Man 3 has been in pre-production ready to film for well over 6 months at this point, they've been delaying it because the earliest they can release it is, I can't even remember the date. I think it's February 2023, I think is when that movie comes out. There's something that they're waiting that Ant-Man has to come after for like story reasons for Ant-Man 3 to make sense. Lining up all those bits of information, it would make a lot of sense if it's waiting for Loki season 2 to come out. If there's like Kang, if this evil version of Kang from the end of season 1 is going to carry into season 2 and then carry into Ant-Man 3, I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for sure, obviously. We ought to give ratings to the season, maybe?
Yeah. So pleasantly surprised. And I know Brian's going to be talking mad shit, but I definitely rate this higher than WandaVision.
I would agree.
No, I'm not, Cray.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong, but
It was so much more Marvel than WandaVision was.
That's true, but that's not necessarily good or bad,
No,
right,
it's
Marvel
not.
or WandaVision was more about showing Wanda coming to the realization of what her true powers really are and what she can do.
Yeah, Wanda's OP though, so like.
No,
well, she's only OP now.
She's is OP. She's been OP.
You're just jealous.
I
am.
We all know you are. You're just down bad.
True.
She's a queen. Don't be rude.
I think I still Falcon better.
Okay.
I like those two. That combo is doing it for me. And it's mainly because Loki's just like I
the
didn't get a wow.
You mean.
Yeah, the character. I didn't get my wow, so that doesn't help the overall ratings.
I still think it was a well done and good
definitely.
show.
Yeah.
But I think too, because it's being left on such like a unknown cliffhanger, it's kind of hard to be like to really know how you feel about it because you're like, well, shit, there's still so much that I don't know.
But it's the fact that it's making you feel something.
Shut the fuck up.
So where would you put this of the three shows that we've seen now?
I don't know.
Where do you slap it? Are you putting it last?
I think so.
Ooh, wow. Well then, we're gonna end up with 3 different.
I did though.
I know, but I know you're. Let me guess. You're gonna have WandaVision first.
No, see,
Or are
I'm
you gonna
like
go?
tied for WandaVision and Falcon are in the Winter Soldier are tied for me.
Okay, so it's like a 1A, 1B
Yeah, yeah,
into a Loki 2.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I got Falcon and the Winter Soldier 1, Loki 2, WandaVision 3.
I think seeing, especially like just with the world nowadays, like seeing how well WandaVision was able to portray such like a strong female, it, I mean, it's an extremely great show, and I think it's something what we need. Just like with Black Widow, like the way that they portrayed the characters and how they were seen visually on screen was just so much better than if, say, Black Widow had been done 10 years ago.
Okay, well, I would put Loki number one, just for the record.
Wow.
I loved all the shows. I think all three shows have been great. I loved WandaVision. I thought that its final episode, it didn't quite stick the landing for me perfectly, but that was mostly because COVID fucked it over. I thought Falcon was fucking awesome, and the payoff at the end of that series was amazing. But I think they absolutely knocked the finale out of the park for me with Loki, and that is what seals it at like just nipping that number one spot. And it gets the advantage of introducing Kang, who's a character I love from the comics, which is a bit of a cheat code, and it gets the bonus of having a season 2, so it doesn't have to perfectly tie up every storyline that it introduced. It has a lot of advantages going for it. But still, the fact that when they announced this show, I rolled my eyes in disappointment that we were getting more Loki, and now it is my favorite MCU show and probably in my top 10 MCU projects overall. They killed it.
Yeah, so I got a question for you. Are you with, Marvel making, movies for the last 10 years and now kind of deciding, well, hey, we've got a lot of content we got to put out and movies might not be the best way to do it all. Let's make some shows. How do you think they are handling the shows? Are you surprised at the quality and how well written everything is, or were you expecting that?
No, I was pretty much expecting this. If anything, I think maybe I've been a little disappointed because I think that they can do even better. And that's a high standard they set for themselves and maybe an unfair expectation that I have for them. But really, they're in like the phase one of their shows in terms of like it's a whole new medium that they have to learn how to make. It's way different than the movies. And so they're kind of back to square one in terms of figuring out their process and what works and what doesn't. And so juggling that learning curve with how hard COVID screwed them on these first 2 or 3 shows, I think they've pulled off a great job. And that going forward, the next few shows after this, once they've had a chance to learn from their small mistakes and improve things, it's going to be ridiculous. We are not ready.
Okay.